Hello and welcome to the another session of PPM Tool Unified Solution for STC. So we are right in the home page of this Unified Solution portal. In this session, we are going to learn how to create a new project in PMO tool. So to start with, let's go and click on the project center and come down, and in the enterprise project management section, go and click new project. It basically opens up the project registration page. So in this page, we are going to give the project title, and the in the description column, we are going to give the project summary. If we have any existing data, either in spreadsheet mode or PowerPoint presentation, we can copy and paste the text as is here. And in the departments, so these are the, if you could observe, these are the mandatory fields to fill in. So department will automatically comes, it will basically associates with our account. So our section name will automatically come up here, and we may have to choose the component type. So when we are creating any project, so either it should be agile project or external project or internal project. So let's take an internal project, and this portfolio and program is not mandatory as of now. Let's straight away go and give the start date of the project. We can choose the start date by accessing this calendar. So we can schedule a project which is in progress, and we can also create a project which is already completed, and we can create a projects that are in future which is going to happen. I can pick up a future date or a past date or current date. Let's take a future date, for example from Jan 2020. So there is a new project is coming up, and you mention your sorting order or a unique project number in this column. I'll just give A, and here is important column called component manager or leader. So he is nothing but the project manager who is responsible for all the deliverables or the risk and issues, and basically the tracking and updates of the project. So we need to identify his name. So please identify his name with his username with the name alias name, and then click on the tab so that it automatically takes. And after giving this related information, please click create. So to create the project, so it takes few seconds to trigger, and let us wait. So once we create the project, so it comes up in the project center, and let's go and click on your project name, PPM Tool Overview. And here is the first stage that we have entered in. Let me introduce to this workflow. So here we have a current workflow, that is S01 project trigger. So the first tab which we can see is the current work stage we are in. So we need to trigger the project, and then it goes to contracts review. So basically in this contracts review we have all the financial details of the project, and the contract terms, the payments, purchase orders, purchase requests, etc. And once we fill in, this is not mandatory, and this particular contracts review is optional. So whoever wants to access, those people can access it, and then we can directly move on to charter, where we can have all the high level details of the project like objectives, scope, high level outcomes. So we'll go and access when it comes to the, and then once we submit the charter, it goes to the approval, and basically as project owner and sponsor should approve the charter in order to go to planning. So once we enter into the planning, we need to submit the plan as well, and it should go to execution, and finally it goes to the close. So this is the basic workflow that has been built inside STC. So here when you go and click on the project, so we can see the trigger is the first stage. So for each stage, let's go and access the stage and see what is there in it. So please click on the project trigger so that we will get a trigger page here, and all the info that we have given in the project registration have come here. And here is a department, so we may come up and choose the project execution department here in the project trigger. So let's choose network operations, and here the two mandatory fields are like project owner and project sponsor. In many cases, the owner and sponsor both are same, and in my case I'll give as my name. So whomever you mentioned here, these people will get the approvals. Basically, if you are a project manager, your reporting manager will be your owner or the sponsor. And we can also give the priority, the project priority. I'll just pick up out of these three, you go and say which is appropriate to you. And once you give this info, let's go and submit it. So we are just triggering the project. So once the trigger is completed, we would get this message saying that project trigger was successful. And the important message here is please close the project and wait for communication via email before attempting to the next step. So each individual user will be getting an email from EPM admin. So as it says, let's close and access the project. Click on your project to open. So now my project trigger was successful. So once we finished the first stage, let's always make it a practice to click on your project name here. Make it a practice to click your project name on the top so that it allows the workflow to move on to the next phase automatically. So once we click on the project tool overview to refresh the page, see, it has automatically taken us to the charter. So now we can access both contracts and charter. So let's go and access the contracts and see what are the details it is asking. So basically this entire view, I will call it as a page. So in each stage there will be few pages. So I am in contracts review stage, and this is my page, and in this page there are a lot of certain tabs. So the first tab is financial commitments and purchase requests, and this next one is purchase orders, and here is the subcontracting details, and there are some PPM system information, and the payments and the document management. So we can basically upload the documents here using the link. And how to add anything in this tab? So go and click on financial commitments and purchase requests and go and add. If you have got the sufficient information to give, you go and add it here using this button, and then we can we can see the new financial commitments and purchase request list. Give some data according to your project, and then so give the certain things, this financial commencement number, the status, creation date, issuance date. If you could observe here, except the title, nothing else is mandatory. So what the info that we have in our database, you please give the data and then save it, so that this will be saved, and put it will be there with us in this project. And likewise, if you want to add any purchase orders, you click on the tab and then add it here using this button, add button. And also the subcontracting, likewise the PPM system information, etc. And once your contracts review information is completed, let's move on to the charter and then to see the other information. So here is your charter page. In this page we have got a lot of tabs to fill in. In the charter, this is a charter template for STC. So automatically your project name will appear on the top, and here is the high level, the objectives of the project, scope of the project, in scope items, out of the scope items, high level outcomes, alternative solutions, and selected solution and assumptions. This is the overall data that is existing for us. So we can complete the charter details with the data what we have in our hand. Let me put some sample. So we can basically copy paste the data from the existing sources. The text box, these are all text box fields. So once we fill in the charter details, let's go and save. Once the charter details is saved, let's go and access the next tab, strategic alignment. So this is depend on the individual projects. The project is related to which of the among imperative, you just go and click it. So it is a multi option button, so you can click whatever the options is existing here and come down and then save here. So once that is saved, let's go and access the stakeholders. So this is one of the important data to start with. We can describe all our, we can actually create all our team members. So we call them project management team. He could be a project member, team member, project manager, PMO, head, customer, or any project team member. We will just go and add his name. So let's say I'll give some sample names, and if you have his mail ID and other details of his, these are not mandatory, but if you wanted to give, you go and give, mention all the things, and, and his business phone number, mobile number, job title, and I can basically give this matrix here. So if he is a project manager for me, and his power should be high, and his interest should be high, and I need to always keep informed. So this is the approach that we need to put it. And once it is created, please save and close this window. And once you refresh, we can see his name. Let's go and create one more name. If you have his details, you can bring in, otherwise it's not required. Because I just wanted to identify my team member as with his name. And maybe if he is my team member, I'll choose manage closely and then save. So this stakeholders will basically allows you to see the stakeholder matrix, and when we are going when we want to create a responsibility assignment matrix, so we have a RASI matrix here. You access the RASI matrix and go and add. So let's say, so here the activity is important for me. Let's take design. So for this particular activity, my team member is responsible, and this team member is coming from the stakeholder register. So my manager is accountable, and he should be consulted, and he should be informed. If we have a lot of other hierarchy, all the people we can bring in, your manager, your section head, maybe department head, or sometimes it may be a GM. So you document those people in the stakeholder and come here and assign the matrix, so that tomorrow it helps us to clear few things, to whom should we should consult, to whom we should inform, and who is the responsible person. So now let's move on to the deliverables. We can see a lot of other things here. So we have a benefits, we have ties, dependencies, risks, rigor, and let's go and document few deliverables in this session. So we can, like any other options, this is also same. So you access, you click on the deliverables tab and go and add, and then we can document like this. I can basically give the deliverable started and finish date. So I can become the current date, come here and save. Like that, we may be having a lot of deliverables list that has identified early stages in the project. But if you don't have all the detailed deliverables, no problem. The same deliverables and other things will continue for the next stage till it goes to the closure. And now, so if the data is sufficient for this, let's go back to project title. Once we saved all the charter details, click on the project title and come down to the bottom. There is something, a work list, which will be awaited for us to submit it to the project owner. So this is my project name, and this is the current document which I have worked, I saved. And here you go and click to submit it to the owner. And then once we submit it, so you come here, come back and click on your project name. So once we click on the project name, so the tool allows the workflow to move on. Now it has gone to charter to the review and approval phase. Now the current workflow stage is review and approve charter. As a project owner or project sponsor, they would get a mail to approve the project charter. In their view, they would be getting this approval. In this case, it is me, so I got the approval. So I'll just go and approve it and come back and review, refresh my project name. So once we click on the project name, the workflow stage has moved to project planning. So far we have created the initiation phase. So we did the project trigger and contracts review and project charter details and submitted the project charter for approval. Once my sponsor approved my charter details, my project moved to project planning. We'll see project planning in the another session.